Hi, hello team. My name is Monique. This is The Cauldron, and today we are doing my September wrap-up. In case you were not aware, my name is Monique. This is BookWitch Reviews, my channel, and if you've been here a while, you are aware of the fact that I don't really do wrap-ups because I feel like I'm just repeating myself. But then I found that maybe the reason why people do wrap-ups is because you learn how to summarize properly and enunciate and do the things that you are meant to sort of do on Booktube, which is know how to talk about books. And all I usually do is speak incoherently. In September, I also joined on to Becca and the Books' Bookoplathon, which was a month-long readathon based on her game of Becca's Bookopoly. And now I feel like I should do a nice little wrap-up of this was what I actually read, and I read quite a lot in September, actually. So let's just start out. Let's just do the thing. Anyway, I thought I would start off with some quick little stats. The stats are literally how many pages I have read. I have read 5,177 pages in the month of September. I am quite wowed by myself, to be all honest, and that encompasses 11 books. Did I finish my TBR for the game? No, which is annoying. But let's just start out. I am not going to do it by roll. I am going to do it by when did I read the book. So I started the month off by reading The Memory of Souls by Jen Lyons, which is the third book in the Chorus of Dragons series, which is a series that I love with all of my heart. It is an adult high fantasy, very epic, where we follow a couple of different characters who are all set out on almost this like prophecy path. And the world is supposed to be ending or dying. There are demons everywhere, basically. The first book, A Ruin of Kings, we follow Kieran, who is a young bard's son, or a young bard's adopted son, who suddenly gets pulled into this political intrigue, and he finds out that he may or may not have something to do with the world ending and the way that the world started. It was wonderful. I gave it 5 stars. I loved it. I also thought it was a trilogy, so I thought it was the last book, which it isn't, which makes me both happy and make me really sad. So there is that. The next book doesn't come out till next year, and I feel like I'm going to cry about it. The second book that I read is Bone Crier's Moon by Catherine Purdy, which I don't have anymore because I got rid of it because I really didn't like it, which made me really sad because the cover is stunning. I read this book for my roll of a chance card, which was literally that book because I haven't been that excited about it, because other people haven't been excited about it. And normally I am not that easily influenced this time. They were absolutely right. It is a very standard YA fantasy, and by that I am not saying that other people shouldn't enjoy it. I am also entirely aware of the fact that I am not the target audience for this book, but overall I just as a person didn't enjoy it as much because the plot felt very like, it felt like there was meant to be some sort of a stake. There was meant to be some intrigue. I was promised hate to love, didn't really get hate to love. Sort of maybe got magic. We are following 3 different points of view characters, and maybe that was why I was a little bit like about it. But overall I ended up giving it 2 stars. Didn't love it at all, and then I moved on. So after Bone Crier's Moon, I accidentally read this little motherfucker. This is a bind-up of the first 3 book in the Black Jewel series by Anne Bishop. This is one of my most beloved series. However, it did not fit any of my Bookoplathon prompts. I have tried several times to explain what this book is about, and I am really bad at it. But overall, all you need to know is that this is a dark, epic fantasy where a prophesized witch is coming who is meant to save or destroy the blood, and the blood in this world are the humans and the magic users who can use these crystals that they are given at birth to do all of these different kinds of things. But basically there has been a sickness in the blood for a really long time, and so all of these evil matriarchs, because the society is matriarchal, are taking over and using people, and the witch is going to come and sort of decide the fate of this universe. And it is wonderful and dark, and I love it with my whole heart, and it made me really, really, really happy to read it. Next up, I went back to my Bookoplathon TBR and I read My Sister the Serial Killer by Onyeka Braithwaite, which was one of my books for the under 300 pages. This one is 223. We follow two young women in Nigeria, and one of them is the older sister who continuously have to sort of come help her younger sister because her boyfriends keep dying. It is a story about sisterhood and family and what you're willing to give up for those you love and what they're willing to give up for you. And I actually really enjoyed it. Ended up giving it 3.5 stars. It might even be a 4-star. It's a quick little read. And I just really enjoyed both the thriller and also the pragmatism. Is that a word? Sort of the practical side of the older sister who is our point of view. So I really enjoyed this and would highly recommend it. Next up, I read Incendiary by Sorota Cordova, which was for my prompt Fire on the Cover. This is another young adult fantasy, this one inspired by Latin America, where we are following a young girl who has the magic to be able to take people's memories, which means that she has lived 1,000 lives. And I was really hooked on the premise and also on the fact that several of my friends who like YA have been speaking very well about it, and I did enjoy parts of it. However, I didn't overall like the plot, and I did not like where it went very predictable. That also felt like our main character was just very repetitive, and I'm just like... Next up, I read Goddess in the Machine by Laura Beth Johnson for my Set in the Future prompt. This is a beautiful Owl Crate edition, young adult sci-fi sort of dystopian novel, and I actually really enjoyed this. I ended up giving it 3.5 stars. In it, we follow a young plus-sized girl who wakes up 1,000 years later than she was meant to on a planet where she does not speak the language, and what she thinks of as technology, the people there thinks of as magic. It is a roller coaster sort of thing, has very interesting insights into language and the evolving of language, and I really, really enjoyed our main character and sort of the banter that she had with the rest of the main cast. So this was a wonderful little read this month. Then I started reading Star Daughter for my POC prompt, and I sort of ended up reading 2 other books in between this one, and I am quite sad about it. The premise for this book is another young adult sort of magical realism fantasy about a young woman who is part star and part human, and she accidentally burns her father with her starfire, and to get a sort of cure for him she has to go to her mother's celestial courts and ends up taking part in this competition. Also has some beautiful lyrical writing, but overall I thought that it became very obvious where some YA is like open for a wider audience. This is very, very much set towards a younger sort of mind frame. I even might go as far as to say that it's more almost middle grade, like that straddling line between middle grade and young adult. And though I enjoyed parts of it, in general, I just couldn't connect with the plot, and I felt like some aspects were just glossed over and other parts we were just sort of rushed through. So though I wanted to like it, it was not like my favorite. I ended up giving it 2.5 stars, so very average, and I will most likely be getting rid of this very beautiful edition, which makes me sad. I then decided to read The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue for my standalone prompt. The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue is coming out on the 6th of October from VE Swap. It is a much anticipated release. It is a new adult, I think, magical realism book about a young girl who makes a bargain with the devil to basically see as much as she can of the world, and to sort of get his own on that way, the devil makes everyone forget her until she has lived for 300 years and she meets a young man in New York who does not forget her. And it is very, very beautifully written. It has a full cast of queer characters. It looks at the aspects of art and how we sort of inspire art and how art then inspires us and how it can mean different things to different people. And Addie is this beautiful, hardcore, almost world eater. She wants to see everything and she wants to taste everything. And it's about more than just this bargain that she has made. It is about life. And I loved it. I ended up giving it 5 stars, even though the ending was a little bit for me. But in general, whenever I think about the prose and the feelings that it woke in me, I had to give it a 5. My second prompt for another book for under 300 pages, I read The 4 Profound Weaves by R.B. Limburg, which is another NetGalley arc that I got. I believe it was out in the beginning of this month. This is a short story fantasy about these 2 basically 60-year-old trans characters. One is a trans woman weaver and the other one is a older trans man who is looking to find his name, and they set out on a journey to find the last weave. And in this world there are 4 different weaves. There is song, hope, change, and death, I think. And our woman really wants to be a profound weaver. She wants to weave everything, and they sort of set out to find her aunt who was meant to teach her. And it is very short and very beautiful. It looks at every aspect of gender and sexuality and does not question it, and if it does, then it immediately afterwards sort of explains why you should not be questioning this, and I really enjoyed that. I do think that the sort of deep dive into this sort of short story was done a little bit too extreme for me, and I couldn't keep up. I didn't quite understand what the universe was or what we were really doing, but overall I thought it was just an amazingly written little story. Then I decided to go back and read the original prompt for my POC rep, which is the 5th season by N.K. Jemisin, which is a much acclaimed epic fantasy series about the world ending. And in it we meet 3 different characters whose interconnection comes as a complete surprise, at least to me, at the very end. It is a stunningly written word about humanity and what we are willing to give up to continue living, and I absolutely adored it. It's a solid 5 stars. It's my favorite read of the month, since I don't count rereads as favorites, but this was just absolutely wonderful. And then basically my very last prompt, which was for Disability Rep and for which I was going to read 6 of Crows, which has arrived today, but it is the 1st and I can no longer read it. I decided to have a reread of A Deadly Education by Naomi Noviks, which is one of my absolute favorite reads this year, and I was very lucky to be sent a physical copy by the publisher Del Rey and Naomi Noviks, and I just decided, I read this so fast the first time in June and loved it, and then I literally read it again in a day and a half and absolutely adored it once more. This is Naomi Noviks' new series, The Scholomance, where we are following a young woman who has basically these affinities for evil, set in a magic school that basically eats its students, and the students are stuck there from they are 14 till they are done with their high school career, and are these monsters called the Maleficara, or the Mals, who eat witches and wizards and magic users for their mana, which is their magic. And it is just gruesome and gritty and amazing, and this beautiful look at who you want to be when you grow up and what you're willing to give up for it. And it is just stunning, and I love every aspect of it, and I am so excited about getting many more copies of this. So this ended up being my stack for September. I want you to think that there is an additional 5 books on top of here. It was a really good reading month. I had some good and some bad. I am still thinking about whether I need to take more of a break from YA, which I say as someone who has several YA titles on her October TBR because I am an idiot. But overall, I really enjoyed this. I hope you enjoyed this. I might have to retake this because the light is disappearing again, or I just need to get one of those circle-y things. But anyways, I hope you enjoyed this. Let me know in the comments down below what you have read in September, and then at the same time you can hit the little thumbs up button, you can hit the subscribe button at the same time if you want to. And then I hope you guys are having a great day. I hope you did some good reading, and then I will speak to you guys very soon with another video. Bye!